Okay, good morning. Today's the 1st of December 2023, a new month, and hopefully a nice successful month again. November was a green month, a decent month, and I'm hoping December will also be a green month. Just quickly look at news before we start. We've got a couple of high importance news to watch for today. We've got Powell speaking at 11, and we've got manufacturing PMI at 10, both on the high importance scale, so if you're in trades around that time, just be a bit wary. And we've got a bit of news. Yeah, that's it really. And we've got some Fed speakers at 10 o'clock as well, so we might see a bit of volatility today. On my screen, in fact I did have my trading plan open, I might as well just go back to that. On my screen is my TradesVis platform I use for tracking my trades, and I do all my pre-market notes, and so pretty decent software, and I recommend tracking your trades. So I just remind myself, I've gone through I go through my pre-market game plan, and then I come up with my scenarios, and just gives me an idea. And then obviously I break down my trades when I'm doing them, ready for tomorrow or tonight when I tag them all. And obviously I do a recap at the end of the day. But unfortunately I wasn't able to do a recap video yesterday. I had some sad news that my brother-in-law passed away suddenly and unexpectedly, and so I closed my position in profit yesterday. I'll just go through that position now, so it's technically my trade recap now. In my pre-market video yesterday I discussed in detail how I wanted to catch the break and retest of the inverse head and shoulders. So let's just go back to the hourly. Not the inverse, I meant the head and shoulders pattern we were watching setting up. So we had this pattern, and so this is the head and shoulders pattern I was watching for setting up, and I drew in this trend line in the pre-market video, and I said what I'm waiting for is for the break and retest of that trend line, and also the break and retest of the 200 moving average, is this purple line almost directly below, and you can see those levels were spot on, and that's a great move. So I did take a couple of stops trying to get that position. Maybe I was holding my stop a bit too tight, but you can see it's pretty whippy here. So my first entry yesterday was the break and the retest of this area, and my target was there. I missed my target. In fact, I did take a bit of profit there, but I missed my target, and it came back, and I think I stopped myself out probably just there. And then I tried again, it came back down, pulled back, I tried another attempt, and it came down. I didn't take profit this time, and I stopped myself out this is a slightly bigger stop, because I was in half a size, because I thought, you know, second attempt, we're going to see it break down. And then it started putting in this flag pattern, and so this time, instead of me waiting for the break of that area, I waited. I took my first, I got back in again as we broke down below the 200 moving average, and then I added when it came back up to the VWAP, and I took profit at my target. That's my target I was waiting for. You can see it went through it this time, and I missed it there, and it came back. Did I add? I can't remember now without looking at my trades. I may have just gone for a slight add as well, another contract, and I eventually got out on this candle, and that's when I got news yesterday about my brother-in-law, and I was just sitting there thinking, what do I do? And you know what, it pulled back up. I put my stop there and I got out. So decent move. So I got that move down, end of the day green, and I had a little bit of drawdown from this. You can see it's quite whippy as well, and so that was quite a decent day. Shame it ended how it did, but we can see I probably got out at the right place anyway, because it didn't do much more after that, and in fact it reversed. So today I had a similar plan. So go back into the hourly. So what I was looking at yesterday was this head and shoulders pattern, and I nailed it. Even though it's a fake break, it broke down, came back, didn't really retest it. It wasn't a daily swing, it's just an intraday break and retest, and that worked great. And it's obviously a fake breakdown and pushback, as you can see. And now I'm looking at a potential inverse head and shoulders pattern. I don't know if you can see it. Got the left shoulder, or potentially that's the left shoulder, the head, and potentially putting in the right shoulder now. So depends how you look at it. You could see two. You can see putting in series higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, ignoring yesterday's blip, higher high, higher low. Well, not really a higher high there, but it is if you take yesterday's into account. It's a difficult one, and you can see the trend line, and that we've got two trend lines starting to merge. Let's go back to the daily. So we've got the weekly level on the daily, and we've got a few targets. So let's just go back to my notes again. So I've only just started looking at the charts the last quarter of an hour. I usually like to give myself an hour before the market opens just to study the charts, come up with a game plan, and obviously a lot going on at the moment. So one thing to note on the daily, we've got increase in volume. Let's get my pen out. We've got increase in volume here. What's going on? So you can see the increase in volume, but we've got no real push up. So it's just increasing, but we're just seeing a sideways movement. And yesterday we had a hammer candle. Well, let's just start off. We had this inverse or shooting star candle or topping tail candle off of a weekly level, and that was on just slightly above average volume. If you compare the previous 3 days, I know we had a bit of there was a holiday in the US, Thanksgiving, so maybe that counts for the low volume, but it is increasing volume. And then we had this. So this is the first sign of weakness, and it rejected off a level as an area we're watching. Second sign of weakness is this hammer candle, and it's on higher than average volume as well. So that's showing weakness, and the reason it's weakness is because at one point that was a red candle and it came back up. So it's showing that there are both buyers and sellers there, and so but the sellers did try to push it down, and did it break the previous? Yeah, it made a new weekly low and then came back up, but it still an inside day on yesterday, and we've got another inside day candle today. And again, right now, if you look at the daily candle, it's looking potentially weak. This area is a key area as well, 45, 65 area. So this is an area we've watched it just consolidate along, either touching the tops of candles or bottoms of candles. And today, and it came into that area today. So let's just go to the hourly. So one of my plays today was going to be the break and retest again of this, even though we've got this trend line in, and we can ignore yesterday's fake breakout and pullback. It's come back down and tested that trend line yet again, so no coincidences here in the market. And then we pull back. We've got this bit of a 3-bar play setting up as well. If I were put a level in there, I still quite like the break and retest of the 200 as well. It's a rise in this purple line here. It's a rise in 200. So potentially watching for a break and retest of 45.65, that area, and potentially 45.64. So we've got a $1 area just to watch for the break and retest. And what we're looking for is for it to actually break below the 200. Like it did here, close below the 200, pull back up, and then retest that area for the break back down. So we test. Remember I said yesterday, talked about how many times it knocked on the door. Knocked once, twice, 3 times, finally broke through, couldn't hold it down there, came back out, back up, come back down, knock again, and potentially we may see it break down. So that's one area I'm watching for a potential short. Another short area I'm watching for is this region, 45.80 to 45.85 area. Let's just put my level in. Let's just raise that one, and I'm going for that area there, 45.83, and there's a reason I chose that level. So even though it's a rough area of supply there, there's the bottom of those 2 candles there as well. So I'm not sure. Does it coincide with it going back? Originally had that pivot, but it's kind of gone through. That's gone now. Yeah, I think it's a very high risk rejection area because there's no real areas of volume in that area. You can see volume is quite low as well on this volume profile. This area here, I still quite like the break and retest of that area. I may consider a bounce, and if we got the bounce, then that would confirm this inverse head and shoulders pattern. and if we were to find a neckline, it could well be that area. It's just a neckline, could be a slanted neckline, a bit like that as well. So if we were to put, let's just duplicate that. Duplicate that by accident. So you can see the channel there. Top of that candle, top of that candle, top of that candle, top of these candles, and that's a basically clone of this candle here, ignoring that break, a fake breakdown. So we could be watching this area. So this area, a few things line up, the trend line and also that level we just chose. And that, again, that level based on the lows of that and the highs of that candle. So 45.83 for a potential reject if we're going to keep playing this channel. And then if we come back up into this weekly trend line and this big area of supply, I'll be looking for a rejection around 45.97 to 4600, or this entire area off. We've got the weekly trend line as well. You know, we came up to it. It's a weekly trend line, so it's a zone. It doesn't mean it has to be a straight line. Came into it, touched it, or at least went through it. Couldn't hold it, and we saw this big rejection. And we haven't really rejected as much as I want, but something I want to show you on the daily. Last time we came up to that area, look at that, we touched it, rejected, couple of green days, and then it reacted. So look at this. We came up to it, we tested it. We had a first green day, maybe a second green day, and then maybe we might see the rejection. We might do something similar. You know, we've seen it happen before. And similar, we had this consolidation as well, where it was just going sideways for a few weeks before touching and then rejecting. And this is almost what we're having now as well. It's gone sideways for a few weeks, touched it, and potentially could reject it. But we'll see. But this is the key area. If we break out through that area, we've got this pivot to watch. So this entire zone is our supply zone, and that's where we're looking for rejection. We've had the first rejection already, and maybe there could be a second one. We'll see how significant this trend line is. So back to the hourly, let's get some levels. So I've got a reject at 45.83.50 area, potentially 45.90 to 45.97, that $5 area, and that includes that trend line. I'll put just a level there as well. So, and then we've got a bounce, potential bounce on this area here. I prefer the break and retest myself. Looks like it's doing that now. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for that break and retest. That's what I prefer to see. And then we can use these these existing bounce areas as targets as well. So if we've got the break and retest of 45.64, got the first target of 45.60, second target of 45.52 area. So that's it. They're the only areas I'm watching really. Break and retest, higher risk because it's near to where we are now in the market. It's already broken it. It's already broken that level, but it's the 200 we're watching. That's the key area. Like we said yesterday, it's a key area here, and I think it'll be the key area here as well. And then we've got the rejection up here. And obviously with any of these levels, we can do the opposite trade as well. So if we see it grinding up all day, slowly grinding up, then potentially we see it break out, come back down, we could look for an entry maybe around that area there for the push back up again. But that's a long way off. We haven't confirmed a downtrend yet. We're going sideways, so it's going to be tricky. It's an inside day. That's it really. SPY, exactly the same levels. Break and retest of that area, or even a breakdown. Might be a nice scalp. You break down with a tight stop. Reject back up here as well. 457.50 for a reject that area, and this pivot here is an area of demand 453. I don't think I drew the demand area in on the MES, but it's a similar, exactly the same. So this area here is the area of demand. I'll draw it in, so that area there, and it coincides with that level at 45.52. So this is a bounce area as well. And that's it on SPY. I'll do it in a quarter of an hour. Qs. Oh, look at that, that's nice. I like this pattern. So we came down, pushed down, we pulled back up, retesting this area for the reject back down. So potentially that's below the 200 at the moment. We could see that continue down. We've got the first target, and this point of control is the second target if we're going to go short. So quite like 387.50 for a reject, 389.36 for a, probably that area there. There's a lot of junk to the left. 389 to 389.50 for a long play of a continuation, but we have got the 200 moving average, and we've got all of this volume to the left, so it's going to be hard to break through all this volume here. So all of this is just volume. It's going to be hard to get through that area, so a short is probably the easier trade, because we've got lack of volume in this area. NQ, which is probably will be the same. Yeah, look at that, it looks like a nice, I quite like this pattern. It came up, retested, come back down. Looks like it wants to break down through that area. So target 1 there, target 2, 15.860 and 15.775 area. And again, break and retest long there, but we've got a lot of volume to the left. But this is our low volume area we're in right now, so we could see that breakdown. So keep an eye on that. Oil. It's just having a sideways day. I was watching this level yesterday for the break long. Didn't happen, it pushed straight back down. So that's not a play anymore. There's no play at the moment. We've got this left shoulder, head. Potentially this is part of a right shoulder, and it hasn't really, no, it's not really a play now, it's invalidated that pattern. And we're below all the moving averages as well, below that key area 77. I think there's two things to watch. Breakdown of that area 74 to 75, and a break of 79 up. So they're the two areas to watch for. Excuse me a second. Ooh. Last gold. That's how you hold a sneeze in, by the way. With the eyes popping out. Gold's looking strong. I like this. Putting in this flag pattern. So we've got this area here, descending wedge pattern. Looking for a potential breakout over this area. So I'm going to put my alert in there. So what I'll be waiting for is a break, retest long of this wedge, and it could just start consolidating out over the next few days. And if it breaks down, we talked about this yesterday, we've got this gap to fill as well, so we've got a potential void to fill, so we could look for a bounce at 20.44, and that's it really, nothing really more. Let's go back to MES, see what's happened in the last few minutes. Oh look, it's break coming into the areas we're watching now. So this is, so now I'm interested. So it's broken down, come down. I really want it to break the 200 moving average as well, and the area of, what's that area? 45.64. That's the key area, and it's bouncing now. But we'll keep an eye on that. I want to see it break down, come back up, and I want to get my entry there for the short. That's what I'm waiting for. Looking weak. Didn't quite come back up to the VWAP, but let's see what happens with this. Let's look on a 5 minute. So a re-entry area would be probably 45.66. Increase in volume as well, which is good to see. Increase in volume when we're coming down. So if we saw a decline in volume, was a decline in volume there? So that is, we didn't see any real volume. We've got a couple of volume peaks there, so potentially showing end in volume in this move down, 2 of them. But it could be news at that time as well, 8 o'clock, I'm not sure, I need to double check that. But below average volume, and now we've got above average volume, and we're breaking down, so I quite like this. So I'm currently watching for potential reject up here at 45.66, and this is the 5 minute chart on MES. Okay, that's it, got nothing more to add. have a good day trading. I'm only going to be trading for an hour or two, and then I'm done for the week. Anyway, good luck for the last month of the year. Trade safe.